The stardate is 56300. It has been 3 days since the Stasta incident resulted in the capture and arrest of Irene Adler, and the securing of top secret intelligence in cooperation with the Great Klingon House of Sovgita. The final mission of Tiger Squadron has been completed. Its senior officers prepare to continue on their own separate adventures. Though most first met in service aboard the USS Kismet years ago, they now begin to part as close friends, if not eternal allies. We begin our first scene in one of the lounges aboard Deep Space Arcania.
Do we actually have a Quaqua here? Or are they a bit preoccupied right now?
There's a Quaqua here. They're
Okay.
one of the few diplomats that are interacting with outside of the Peugeot system.
Okay.
Subsector, rather.
Had to be sure, given the whole war thing.
Yeah.
So, Penn, Varder, and Myth, you are sitting in the lounge together. There is supposed to be a big meeting at some point, but various officers are still attending to other matters before all the ships ship out and head off their ways.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so what have you both got planned for the next step?
Immediately is having the Admiralty be very upset with me, I think.
Well, I can understand why.
Indeed.
I mean, don't take that as me being completely disapproving. I understand the lean towards being more open and forthright as intelligence. Don't appreciate the fact that you confirmed dangerous information and gave it away.
I think secrets are one of the most dangerous things to the Federation, though. We risk losing who we are if we cling to them too closely.
Oh no, agreed. And like I said, I do approve with the leaning towards being more open and having more trust in our intelligence service.
It's a secret that if I had fought to preserve, then the Klingons would be very much more inclined to believe it's really being used against them.
Agreed. You are in a difficult situation, Commander.
That is an allied house that I can hope to trust.
Listen, for me, it was just more, I believe it could have been done in a different situation, at a different time. I don't think it should have been done now in the way you did it, but I do believe it should have come out.
Oh well.
Sometimes we cannot control the situations around which actions must be taken, though, Captain.
No, I agree. I'm just giving my two cents as someone who's come from that line of work.
Of course, sir.
And who has a relative disdain towards it these days.
As for me, I believe that I will be requesting of Admiral Nia to perform a series of more extensive tests of our warp geometries, and that will probably involve traveling throughout much of Federation space for at least a couple weeks before we take up a more permanent research position for some time. Hopefully with our testing, we'll be able to universalize at least some of the warp advancements that Maxwell Planck has made to other ships.
Well, apart from the stuff you're doing with warp drives, is there any other focus in research that you have planned? Considering you plan on taking a more stationary role by the sounds of it.
Yes, by my talk with the Admiral, we'll probably be working in conjunction with a space station for some small period of time. It would allow my crew to focus on our research in a way that we have not been able to do within Tiger Squadron. That would mean that we'll be taking on multiple experiments in tandem and broadening our scope significantly from what we've been able to accomplish while serving as a combat and exploration vessel as well as a research base.
Well, sounds like it'll be interesting, and I hope your whatever experiments you come across go quite well.
Thank you.
Just if you find anything interesting that could assist the Achilles, don't be shy in sending it our way.
Myth will smile and say, "Of course not."
Just don't let your XO know. I think he doesn't like me.
I don't think he likes many people.
Commander Dorja has strong opinions, but I find that we are able to work out our differences and agree on a great many things.
No, he's one of the biggest compliments I can give to many officers is that they're competent, and Dorja does give off the element of being competent. So whether he thinks that's a compliment or not, that's up to him to take.
Would you like me to pass that on to him, sir?
If you wish, but I doubt he'll take it very well. Because it's from me.
I'll keep that in mind.
I mean, that's why I pushed for Varda here to get promoted that initial time. Competent officer deserves recognition.
Well, I was a competent NCO, but yeah.
Same.
So Lord and Lady. Wow, okay.
Oh, looks like we've got some honoured guests today.
I did not actually expect the Lady Telbuck to be here. We knew Vulture was in
Alright.
the region, but
Oh, looks like Dharma's going to be busy for the next while.
thanks. There's more conversations, there's more things he can overhear, coincidentally.
Hello, just passing by. Do you need a refresh on drinks, food?
Oh, thank you.
However, another Andorian ale, please.
Dorian
Spring wine.
ale, spring wine. On the ale, do you want it chilled or you just want it room temp?
Chilled, please. I'd like it properly.
He nods.
I believe the
I should
phrase that
perhaps
he
get more
used-
used to ingestion as a social activity, if nothing else.
It can help put people more at ease with you, I'm sure.
Indeed.
If they know you, they won't really worry about it. I mean, us.
He comes back with like a tray full of stuff. He has the a glass that is frosted all along the sides with the blue ale. Sets that down, and he just sets down a bottle of spring wine and a brass cup to drink it out of. A little more Bajoran in style, less Federation-y. He nods and continues off to serve at the other table.
So, what can you actually consume, Myth?
Well, I can consume most foods and drinks that a humanoid would be able to within a temperature range of approximately 170 degrees Celsius to minus. She pauses for a second.
Far and
62 reasonably.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Suffice to say, if we tried to eat what she could eat, we would die.
I don't know. I've had some dangerous things.
I would perhaps avoid acids that could corrode anything in my interior, and there are certain oils that I ingest semi-regularly to help in my internal maintenance.
Maybe a cocktail then.
If you have a recommendation, Captain, I would hear it.
Well, what colour is the relative oil that you consume for maintenance?
Generally, it is a lightish green.
Okay, 1 second.
He's
wh-
going to get actual gasoline.
Yeah, and what's it called?
Myth will just provide a chemical, description.
Okay, I'll be back in a second then, and head over to Dharma.
As you start heading over, Arlan, you are walking into the lounge on Deep Space Arcania. You see a few of the senior staff of the squadron gathering together, as well as some other VIPs who are enjoying a late evening. As the 3 ships of the fleet of the squadron are preparing to shove off, but everyone has things they need to do before all the ships head out.
Have I received my next orders, or am I in limbo?
It's up to Myth and Pend. You're the ones overseeing them.
I probably would have asked Myth if it's okay to be transferred.
That would be up to the lieutenant. He's proven to be a competent chief engineer. However, if our changing mission profile no longer suits his career aspirations, just does kind of shrug.
Clearly, he's one of my intelligence agents now.
Yeah. But yeah, I think if that's the case, we'll give Lieutenant Arlen the choice himself.
So in your mail, probably, Arlan, you would have gotten earlier that day that you have a transfer offer to the Achilles, because the Achilles is in the near future going to be heading out to the Shackleton Expanse on a expeditionary mission to explore that region. Whereas the Maxwell Planck
Shackleton in Expanse.
And there's also the Maxwell Planck's going to be doing various station keeping tests, because they're going to be focusing more on the technical testbed mission, which is a lot of staying near a starbase doing experiments, and then if something goes wrong, you're next to a starbase, so you can quickly run back and get repairs or offload your data.
Replace your computer core.
Yeah. So currently you're probably still on the Maxwell Planck roles, unless you've accepted the transfer order, or you are still considering it. You may not have decided yet. That's up to you.
I think
Technically not on duty right now.
Yeah, I think in character, or I'm still considering it, because I also have to you consider what my husband wants.
Yeah.
And probably have to run it by him.
Well, if it's any consolation, I will be taking some family members aboard the Achilles.
Yeah,
actually-
and
We need target fragments after all.
God almighty.
wow.
Actually, Yolan's probably with you, come to think of it, since you're off duty.
Yeah.
A Denobulan by their sheet. Sensor operator, stellar evolutionist, and astrophysicist.
So sticking next to a starbase probably isn't going to fit his role.
No.
He'll probably want to go out into the unexplored regions of space.
So where do you and Yolan sit as you kind of walk into the lounge? You're off duty. You kind of it's a lot of just everyone getting ready to go for. It's probably like beta or delta shift right now. That's why you're all kind of free at the moment.
Well, no, I'll try to sit at the table of captains. At least introduce ourselves.
Ooh, I got promoted. Look at that.
Well, aren't you lucky?
Senior officers.
And having noticed in, Yolan just kind of says, "Oh, I'll sit over here because he's gonna be coming back anyway." But you're kind of like back,
No.
There you go.
so you can be like back to back like that, and you can kind of
No,
lean
it's-
over in his chair.
No, it's fine.
You want to sit over here?
No, it's that pen is
Okay.
coming back is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, he's coming back, isn't he?
You're captain.
Just pull
Oh,
the
fine, you can
chair
sit up-
across.
No, they're bolted in. People keep doing that. Fire hazard or something.
Dharma.
Probably Dharma. Too many bar fights where people kept throwing chairs. Like, nope, these things are bolted down, or magnetic to the ground now.
No, it's him saving a penny, I'm sure. He doesn't want any of them being stolen.
So, Pen, you approach the bar. You see some Starfleet officer and a Woohoo officer, and Dharma kind of walks over to see you approaching. Yeah, hi.
I want to requisition a cocktail for Captain Myth.
All right. What kind?
It's going to be a weird one, so I'm going to need you to play along with this. It's
All right.
going
Takes
to
out a pad.
it's going to contain this substance, which is the oil she usually consumes.
Oh, okay.
Maybe add, maybe a bit of orange slice and a bit of honey.
Wouldn't that gum up the works or something?
I mean, I'm trying to give her something so she can feel more sociable with people in these situations.
How about I put an orange wheel, like a bit of decoration, maybe a straw, so it looks a little more cocktaily. I don't think honey is a great idea, and whatever this is, I'm not even sure what it would do.
I'm not an expert on oil-based cocktails either. But I'll leave that to you to go on with, and when ready, please bring across.
Sure.
Please don't accidentally make a bomb.
I mean,
Whatever floats your boat. No.
but yeah, I'll head on back to my seat.
Actually, Dharma quickly, whoopsie, comes over, looks at Arlant and Yolan. Hello. Welcome to Lounge 23. I am Dharma Prell. What can I get the two of you?
That's you, other.
oh, I haven't considered. What would I drink?
Whatever
Something
it is,
tasty, one would presume.
Dharma, put it on my tab.
Yeah. Cynthia's
Wait.
popular. We have various fruit juices, spring wine.
What your spring wine?
Well, that's not really how they work. That's sort of a thing we do for the humans, or they do for the humans. So it's more seasonal. We have winter season, we have spring season. Spring season's usually the most tart, but winter season seems to be a little more sweeter. Still fairly, it's all on the dessert end of the scale of wines, but it depends if you want it to be like sugar on caramel on honey sweet, or if you want it just sugar on caramel sweet, if you follow me. And there's quite a bouquet in either case. It's very floral.
Let's go for the spring wine.
The spring wine?
2 glasses. I kind of look at Yolan expectantly. See if he agrees with this.
I could try a glass. I never had it before, I don't think. And Dharma nods and goes over to the replicator to start replicating stuff and kind of glances underneath the counter looking to see if he happens to have the actual bottles lying around.
So, Mr. Arlen, I take this is your better side?
Yes, this is Yolan.
Hello.
Hello, young. Pleasure to meet you.
Good evening.
We'll just nod over, having presumably met anybody going onto our ship before.
Yeah. Like, yes, I know who you are. I was required to.
Oh, don't mean to talk a lot of business, but have you received my offer?
I have. I was going to discuss that with I said better self here. Considering that we both have career aspirations.
Why? What's your career aspiration, Yolan?
Well, I'm actually a bit of a scientist who, with the Denoblian Science authorities, I specialize in stellar evolution and astrophysics. So we research various stars, their formation, and that sort of thing. That's kind of how we met, actually. We were kind of going in the same classes. Back in, was it San Francisco or was it Mars? I forget where we met. I know it was one of them.
It was San Francisco.
Okay, yeah. So we went to San Fran, and Starfleet runs into a lot of new stars, so their courses tend to be a little more challenging. And yeah. And honestly, supernovas aren't nearly as cracked up as much as Arlen would tell you otherwise. Supernovas are kind of one note. There's
One
far
very
more strange
loud
stars out there. Huh?
It's one very loud note.
Well, it's space, dear. It's not very loud, so it's very bright. Yes,
It's
radioactive.
Technically very silent.
The silent killer waves fingers.
So silent but deadly.
Dharma comes over
If
at
you're
that
foolish.
highbrow joke. Pours a couple of glasses of spring wine, sets it down. You notice this one has a big bright flower on the label to kind of highlight this is spring in particular. And then Dharma walks over and sets down it looks to be a cocktail glass, but there does seem to be a little biohazard emblem on the side. And you see this dark blackish ichor with a little metal straw stuck into it and an orange wheel stuffed into it with a little umbrella to kind of bracing between the two of them. The umbrella too is metal as well, so it kind of gleams in the light. There you go. One, whatever this is.
Thank you. I'll cautiously pick it up.
Well,
It's
cheers.
certainly performative. It's a glass
Yeah,
and drink.
unfortunately, I don't think a lot of us are experts on oil-based cocktails, so like I said, this is the best that I could come up with.
Oh, you're a bartender? I didn't know they made bartenders captains.
I'm a bartender. I'm a very terrible one.
It's called a hobby.
You're allowed to have those? Arlen, look at that. You can have a hobby.
I have a hobby.
Is
Name
it-
one.
Bad jokes.
I mean, yes, but
I mean, there's EPS conduits.
that's not a hobby, that's work. Hobby,
What about the
tests.
piezo? What about the piezoelectric, hull plating I came up with?
Seem to remember you were writing a report on that, Lieutenant.
After you were ordered to do some work.
Busted.
Grumble, grumble, grumble.
I mean, inventing is a hobby. I do it myself.
See, it is totally a hobby.
Yeah, you designed a hull plating, I designed a starship.
Yeah, but hull plating's
Oh,
much
really?
harder.
I didn't know you designed a whole starship.
Yeah, that's what the Achilles is.
Wait, you're the design lead on that?
Yep, that's my creation.
Gain more momentum, Yolan thinks. Wasn't that a collaborative effort among Tiger Squadron?
It was.
Oh, so you did it together. A common hobby to invent and connect with each other.
Social activity, one might say.
Yeah, he looks at Harlan
Hey,
pointedly.
hey, I'm happy to share the credit with the rest of the Tiger Squadron, but if I didn't come up with the basic outline and premise of the ship, it wouldn't have even been created.
It's okay, it's okay. You don't have to make up for being short. It's fine. I believe you.
Just looks over to Vard and Myth. Oh, we've got a spicy one, have we?
Yeah,
Like-
I make up the terrible jokes to make up for his good jokes.
Smiles.
Well, if you do decide to accept the offer, we are accepting civilians and family members on board. And if you are as talented as you are witty, Mr. Yolan, then you would be more than welcome.
Oh, just Yolan's fine. I'm no one's master.
I generally use the term Mr. or Mrs. as a term of respect.
I'd rather you didn't.
Well.
Smiles.
Fair enough.
Thank you. What are you drinking? Looks like it's about to turn into an ice cube.
Yes, this is chilled Andorian ale. It doesn't really do anything to me, but
Why not just drink water with ice in it?
it tastes nicer. Would you like a
Ah,
taste?
fair. No. I'm a lightweight. Drinks the spring wine. And Varder, you have that brief moment of, wait, spring wine's actually pretty potent.
Yeah, that's
Just because it's sweet doesn't mean it doesn't have alcohol in it.
slight eye narrowing.
You do realise you're drinking a relatively, I wouldn't say a high concentration of alcohol, but a decently alcoholic drink.
What do you mean? It tastes like sugar.
Yeah,
sunflowers.
That's going to bite you in the ass later.
Wait, there's something alive in there? Stares into the glass.
Not anymore.
It tastes like sunflowers.
Does it also taste like rainbows?
No rainbows. I think that's a sunset cocktail or something. I forgot what it's called.
I'm unsure certain what the taste of an atmospheric phenomenon would be.
Maybe Irish?
What's Irish?
That's an earth thing.
Damn.
Game one momentum. Bjolan's sipping away at the drink, and he seems fine.
Awesome.
Huh.
But yeah, I've still got a few things left to do with at least sorting out crew transfers and getting everything ready. So I shall leave the lovely couple to their beverages.
You two are a couple? Oh, that's sweet. Looks at Varder and Myth.
Oh Jesus.
I believe he was
Honey, I
referring
think he
to the two
means
of you.
us.
Oh.
Yeah,
Well, thank you.
no problem. Captain, Lieutenant Commander, till later.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm just gonna down the glass and head off.
Give me fitness, medicine, difficulty 1.
I can't get drunk.
You can get upset stomach. You won't get drunk, but you didn't eat anything.
Oh, brain freeze.
Actually, yeah.
Great. Yeah.
I would like to choose my trait of Tellarite or Old Salt.
Yeah, puts it to 0.
Survival focus? Nah, I've got nothing.
I'm gonna survive this drink, even if it
I would hope
kills me.
so.
You gain momentum. It actually gives you a bit of a. There's a bit of a chill that you feel on the roof of your mouth. And it's kind of invigorating. Helps wake you up a little bit. And it does taste good. This is actually a pretty good glass of ale. That he actually prepared it properly.
Oh, unlike the one time that he almost poisoned some of the the Ganymede's crew. Yeah.
So Pend heads off. You sure you're not a couple? I mean,
She would be one of my commanding officers, and Starfleet regulations would say no.
not true. You can totally be with your commanding officer. You just can't. You just have to make sure your superiors know about it. I looked into it. I thought about joining Starfleet, but regulations. I mean, that one's fine, but
No.
you know.
Myth's a good friend. Not like that.
Nicely. I believe I also have crew rotations to look into before squadron business concludes.
Yeah.
Captain and I were planning to look over that before the Shasta situation developed.
There's a situation?
Was.
Oh.
Resolved now.
Oh, that's good.
For everyone else's resolved. I've got to keep going with it.
Oh, good. You have work.
Myth will stand up and put a hand on Var's shoulder. Good luck with that, Commander.
Well, you know, we'll see if I actually ever reach that or if I'm a civilian soon. Have fun, Myth.
Perhaps I will. And she heads off.
So, Varder, tell me.
Mhm.
I've seen your picture everywhere.
Mhm.
Do you like pose like that every time? Like the whole chin up middle distance thing? Or is that like added in hollow afterward?
No, he just stands and does that.
Like on the regular?
What if-
You can catch him standing staring in the middle distance all the time on the bridge.
You mean from the security station where I have to stand all the time?
Mm-hmm.
On the Kismet,
Ah.
where you don't really go?
The security man, eh?
Rumors.
Sips.
Mm-hmm.
So are you
Rumors get
single
around.
or?
Yep. As much
You-
as people keep trying to change that.
Well, you know, before we head off, you might want to see what kind. You might be able to teach Arlen here how to have a bit of a good time. Smiles, and you can see he's, you know, that look, Arlen, that he's shipping people because he seems to do that, especially when he's trying to hook
Uh-huh.
up more people in his little Denobulan circle.
And I'm just rolling my eyes, going, "Not again." Playful roll.
I don't even know if I'll have the time, so there's
Aw.
that. I also have no idea what Arlen considers fun aside from engineering, and I am not much of an engineer.
You could teach him to shoot for one, or you could teach me. Flutters eyelashes, sips spring wine. This, you get the feeling the spring wine's starting to catch up to him a little bit because he's drinking it fairly quickly. Ooh, I'm empty. Refills the cup.
Certainly not now, given your present circumstances, shall we say. Handling any sort of weapon while drinking, not a good idea.
Oh, we could take the battery out.
Then there isn't really a point.
We could say pew pew and point it at things.
Yeah, they generally teach you not to just randomly pointing at things, even with the battery out. Phaser safety and all.
I've never known you to be that safe.
I'm safe with phasers. I'm dangerous with with power couplings. Besides, you can be dangerous with power couplings is because you know how they'll fail.
Oh, I'm seeing a power coupling, all right. Sips drink. Looks at the two of you.
I kick him underneath the table.
Ow! You missed my foot. Ow. Really hurt.
That was the point.
Well, I have ship scheduling to look at to double check when I'm supposed to be leaving. Because I will not be here for long. So if you two will excuse me, do enjoy your evening.
Oh, one more thing.
Hmm.
Grabs a pad and shoves it over to you, and you see it's a hollow of you.
Oh, Jesus.
Could you sign?
Sure.
Oh, thank you.
You know, being this far out, that hasn't happened before.
What's it like having a fan club?
Strange. I suppose there's probably the same thing if I go back to Bejor with the whole Celestial Temple thing. Ugh,
Yeah.
I had not considered that. No. The appropriate lord lady escort past.
You give me insight security difficulty of 2 as you pass by their table.
Insight security. I do not really have. No. Would Ally of House Talpok that, in the sense that Bakar is not quieting down as he goes past?
It's more for Vorcha that you're checking, actually.
Oh, okay. Respected by Klingons, the same thing?
Yeah, sure.
Like he doesn't feel necessarily an extra need to try and hide it. Yeah, I'll give you a threat. Oh my god. Yeah, okay. Let me reroll with the bold. There we go.
They both do nod at you, but you do notice that they stopped talking about whatever it was they were talking about, and they've been kind of talking rather quietly between themselves, very un-Klingon. Klingons tend to talk rather loudly in general. Whispers and mutterings are the work of spy masters, not warriors. So, but you do get a pointed look from Vorcha and Bakara, and you seem to be the, if not the sole focus, you're a large focus of their conversation. So that's part of why they stopped talking.
Fair enough.
Nah, I told you I can get his autograph.
You're lucky you're so cute.
That's not luck. I put work into this. You know how hard it is to get this dye in? I don't even have to use the hollow ones. I mean, I could get the implants, and I know I could have, but I mean, like, it just itches, though. Besides, the dyeing process is fun. I still say you should paint your head. You can get like a little tattoo, little eagle, sparrow.
I'm not getting a tattoo.
Oh, it could be temporary, you know, like a rub-on one. Not sure how that works on bullion heads, but we can figure it out.
Maybe if I get any shore leave, Eve will try it. Maybe.
So about that offer, he seems scary, and I don't know if I buy that whole Pathfinder and reconnaissance part of the mission. He looks like he could bore a hole with his eyes. I mean Penn, not Varder. He can just do that with smoldering smiles.
Did that make you weak in the knees?
Well, you weaken the knees, maybe, but I'm not gonna tell. I promise.
I I don't know. Oh, I feel like the test bed admission is. It kind of feels like the safer option now. Staying next to a starbase, ace and all, and not really, you know, seeing the frontier. The Shackleton Expanse has been practically closed off for 2 years now, and finally opening up.
Gaining momentum. Yeah, but I don't know. I've been reading into it a bit, and I mean, if you just go from safe job to safe job, you'll just make a lieutenant, really. I mean, if you ever want to get your own, I mean, don't get me wrong, Exoplank is a nice ship, you know. It's high tech, lots of people to work around you, but eventually someone's going to make lieutenant commander, and you're not going to have that seat anymore. Starfleet's very competitive. You need to stand out. And I don't know, I mean, there are some very scary, intelligent people on that ship. I mean, I'm learning something new every day whenever I talk to their science officers. Every day. I have studied astrophysics for years, for decades, and then these young whippersnappers are telling me how to suck eggs. Like, how he just starts fumbling his words for a bit and then drinks his spring wine and sighs, refills his cup.
Yes, and don't you think I could hold my skills in such a competitive environment?
I mean, that's true. And, I mean, it's not like he'll be offended or take it personally if you said no right away.
Well, I'm also concerned about you and your career. I mean, staying on the Maxwell Planck, it could mean you get to stay on a starbase.
Yeah, but it's not going to be a forward starbase, though. I mean, don't get me wrong. Researching stars we already know about in detail and reconfirming known observations, that's important. But, you know, if you want to study novel star formations, you have to go to novel frontiers. But that said, I don't want you to make a choice just for me, all right? I mean, we have to work with this whole Starfleet thing if we want this to work out, and besides, I can meet all kinds of other guys there, some ladies maybe, you know, expand the family a bit. I mean, like other partners, not like kids necessarily. I mean, we could do kids, but you know, that might be rushing things a little bit.
That's
for you.
Yeah, let's wait on the kids a little bit.
Still
but other partners are fine.
I still think we should get a Targ with like blue fur. Wow, this is really
You haven't brought up the Targ in a long time. You've been sitting on that one for a long time. Yes, and you drank half of that.
Oh, well, you should be drinking yours then, Mr. No tattoo.
Oh goodness.
And we'll end the scene there.
Am I gonna have to take you to sick bay?
So, on DSE or Deep Space Arcania, what is everyone up to?
Well, I kind of joked about it earlier, but I'm gonna try and deal with the Ferengis messing around the station.
In what way?
Well, we have prisoners who are at the station, and we have another Ferengi, part of House Supkita, Daimon Aurelis, who's trying to do everything he can to try and undermine that and get them back.
So you're gonna research these Ferengi, see what they're up to, try to talk them into telling you stuff. Maybe threaten them at phaser point.
No, I'll try and not coerce a confession out of them, but try and talk them into selling themselves out.
Okay. Let's call this an opposed roll. You are rolling presence plus command. Sorry. Security. Opposed.
Awesome.
I know I am. Thank you for noticing.
Well, someone's got to tell you.
No one says it enough.
Would you accept negotiation or strategy and tactics?
I'd totally take negotiation.
Awesome. Trait in commanding presence?
Yes. However, I will indicate this person has a ability that increases the difficulty to persuade them by 2.
Awesome. How about the trait of Old Salt? This is not my first time trying to convince a Ferengi to sell themselves out.
Sure.
So that basically cancels out that ability.
I'll buy a couple dice. He cares a little bit about not getting in trouble. Not a ton, but he cares.
I'll roll 6 challenge dice.
You would.
What should you get? All 6. You get 5.
Huzzah.
We win.
Spending 1 threat. Greed is eternal. So this person will reroll the 12, 13, and 8. As they are very good at negotiating.
For 1?
Yep. Ferengi when they're being negotiated with. Or some Ferengi, anyway. Yeah, that made it worse. Oh well.
So
that turned into 2 hits.
Yes, I gained 3 from that.
You're hoping for some crits there.
Yeah, 100%. I'd be willing to provide some information, Captain, but I think I should have a nicer room, maybe. Maybe some house arrest, yes.
Well, if I can get a written confirmation of the things we've talked about, then yes, that's something I could arrange with the station commander.
Good. Just give me a pad and we can sign off on it.
Yep, and I'll give him a pad.
And he basically writes out the exact thing. He writes out, there's a couple of things he you into, but you're able to suss them out and talk him into just making it into the one thing that he's offering is he just wants better quarters and he just doesn't want to be in the brig. He wants to be in a quarter. He just can't leave, which he's fine with. He's like, no, I'm under arrest. I get it. But, I don't want to sit with these 2 idiots. And those 2, Frankie, are pissed, but there's not a whole lot they can do. They know if they attack him, you're just going to make them stop. So,
well, that now gives me evidence, confession, and technically that gives me precedence, because this is not the first time we've encountered a Ferengi trying to traffic crystalline entities. Because this originally happened in the Zirconian arc, where they quite literally tried to kidnap a humanoid-shaped crystal Zirconian that had sentience, and we literally had to stop them at the barrel of a gun.
You learn these guys these guys work for the guy who worked at the Terminus station out in the Shackleton.
Yeah.
These are those same Ferengi from years and years ago. You learn that these guys were from the Vinter's Dream, about when the Klingons, when House of Gitta basically just defeated the ship. Most of the Ferengi were killed, but these are the remnants of that ship that managed to escape before its destruction, or were on like sales missions elsewhere. And then when the Vinter's Dream was captured by House of Gitta, they lost their way home, and so
Yeah.
And Lazar himself is actually related to one of the rather important member of the FCA, as well as has a favor from the Grand Nagus. So he lets you know that, if you do well by him, Grand Nagus Rom will totally see you right.
Well,
Would appreciate your assistance.
we can definitely reach out to the Grand Nagus to confirm this. But yeah, this is primarily trying to create a role for Aurelis on Saturday.
What kind of role?
Because I know he keeps trying to come here and sneak by different methods to get us to release them.
Mm-hmm.
But considering he's now literally just confessed, and again we have evidence and precedents as well, I'm just going to try and give him a difficult role.
Okay.
I'll
So
even-
that's
Essentially just making life harder.
yeah, basically. I'll even spend into it if you want to make it more difficult.
You can set the. Actually, we know what the diff is. Diff 4.
Am I able to spend to increase difficulty?
Sure.
I've got
2 for 1 additional difficulty.
Yep, I've got 2 medals which can create 2 bonus momentum each. I'll spend them and up it to diff 6.
Rude.
Hey, I could spend actual momentum, but I don't want to be that much of an asshole. But yeah, I'll leave it as that. So if he works his way around to doing a diff 6, sure.
Okay. We look to Varder, Myth, or Arlen to see what they are up to.
Well, I've still got the isolator chips, so those are still safe, right?
Relatively.
Right.
You want to make sure they're safe next?
Yeah, they're still in that said lockbox.
Yep.
Which was the, tamper with goodbye chips.
Yeah, but they can still steal the box.
You could still steal the box, yeah.
Or you.
Yeah, okay, good luck with that one.
Okay. I just need more threat.
Uh-huh.
Give me some Dadaradexes. Actually, I need quite a few. There's a lot of ships here. This is actually a really hard system to attack.
Yeah, I'll probably need to spend the time properly organizing and getting the relative sign-offs to take this back to the admiral requesting them in question, and then from there onwards, as in I'm staying with these things. Here's the precedence for it, etc., etc. Having that all done beforehand. Actually having some backing to this plan than just doing it.
No, what's the plan exactly? Just make sure I'm clear.
He's more or less intending to keep these chips on him or in his person to make sure that no 31 people come in and start taking them off to do their own thing with it, or anyone else. He's trying to more or less personally be looking after them.
Presence plus command opposed, as you'll have to oppose the will of the strategic operations officer of the 10th Expeditionary, because they're probably going to want that in the near future. And like, hey, so here's the orders. Well, here's my lawful requisition to say otherwise, and here's why it's a better idea than your idea. With respect, it's like I'm not telling you to pound sand. I'm just politely suggesting to you why you're wrong.
So you remember Captain Verona, who's now a retired admiral?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd like to use that one as a favor.
Yep.
To make
that
this
gets
easier.
you a hit for sure.
Yeah. As a little bit of backup there. Chain of command focus? Because I am going through that to get this.
And I'm going to buy some dice here. This person finds this the Admiralty finds this mission kind of important.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Would the poster deploy trait come in here?
Flag officer counters.
Fair. Do I? Yeah. 4. You get 4.
I'll buy an additional die. Why not? 2, 3. Oops, that's too high. Nope, that's right.
Ooh, okay.
I can re-roll that 17 because I bought extra dice.
Mm-hmm.
That's 2 additional hits. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 hits.
Okay. I don't have a mission directive, that's for fucking sure. The Ultranaut beat me.
Yep.
Because this is kind of going against an admiral here, so I'm sure he's not having much of that. Do I? I've got 4. I would need a crit on one of those. Let's do it this way. Okay, I got the exact same thing again. Brilliant. Lovely. Love it. Love to see it. Didn't keep it. Don't worry, I've got something, I'm sure.
Yeah, your luck's been terrible since Saturday.
Yeah, I know, right?
Burned it all that day.
Burned it all in the 6 sessions before that.
True.
I was going to say, it wasn't just that.
Oh yeah.
Oops. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
The one zone command, which is political pulling for one, convincing Kira Nerys of doing anything.
Right. Yeah.
Basically, a lot of talking my way around into getting things done. If you would take that one here.
I'll take it.
Okay, let me put some marks next to that. Same value. Let's go. Really, fella? Okay, also still didn't get it. Okay, I've got more.
Efforts?
Efforts. Yeah, I know. All of that. The what was it, like a week of back and forth with the Law Singer? I've got a milestone for that. Does that apply?
Sure.
For generally being willful. sitting there like, God damn it, Varder.
Well, it's the best chance to try and burn them all.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. There you go.
Okay, that does make me even. I think. 1 second. Two, three. Nope. I fucking hate this. 2 of those are 5s.
Just out of reach.
I know.
I mean, sometimes you just got to take a loss, bud.
Fight me.
You can take a reputation ding by basically you basically kick it up the chain, which is it delays the problem, but it becomes a problem for Earth Starfleet security. It's like, well, I want Admiral so and so to talk about this. It's like, it's an annoying thing to do. You'll probably have to deal with this again in the future, but for now, it won't leave your custody.
Oh no, it's me. I could
How many
entirely.
hits do
I've
you
got
need?
other. I need 1, and I've got both favors from Captain Kira and Captain Athaden. If one of those being a particularly belligerent and stubborn Bajoran, who I'm sure would help, and the other one's Athaden, and that's Athaden if he would or has the ability to.
You can burn Athaden's. He's part of the 10th, so
Okay,
can-
he is part
can
of the basically that works.
Yeah, he'll write a letter of recommendation and a brief on why he thinks your idea is the better move, with all due
Okay.
respect, etc., etc. Much to the annoyance of the strategic operation officer of the 10th Expeditionary Fleet, they eventually allows you to maintain security and custody over the device until such time that the Federation Council or Starfleet Command demands otherwise.
Okay.
Which is his nice way of saying he's going to kick it up, but that's going to be a problem
That's
for
gonna take time.
That's going to take time for the bureaucracy to come around to that problem, because your problem isn't like a Genesis device. It's a problem, but not like
Mm-hmm.
there's more imminent dangers in the universe right now. So yeah, you've maintained custody of the data of the isolated chips.
That being said, also generally going to try and keep that on my person or in the general vicinity of myself, the
Yep.
container. I don't know if you need to put that marker back on me for the thing, but
Oh yeah, that's true. Yep, because you literally are walking around with this thing.
Yep.
Falls to bring you up to speed there, Grenin. What's happening right now is that this is the
Yes.
crews of the ships are basically doing some preparations. It's after it's basically like beta or delta shift. Like it's fairly late in the day as the various ships and senior officers are trying to make some preparations before the ships sally forth into their separate directions, because Tiger Squadron is basically having its last day officially. You haven't had the big meeting to formally shut it down, but you're waiting till everyone has their stuff together, and then probably going to do it around gamma shift or so. Like it's the last thing you're probably going to do before the Kismet takes off and you get some sleep.
Yeah.
So it falls to either Myth, Arlant, or Grenin for their action. This scene.
I like how I now have my determination back as well. It would wait till now. It would.
I do have something I want to run, although it's not pressing.
This is the epilogue. If you're going to do anything, now's the time.
Okay.
Speak now or forever hold your peace.
Grenin does need to touch base with Irene.
Well, they killed her last episode. No, I'm just kidding.
No, she's in custody.
Yes,
In a cell.
Oh no.
Are you gonna Dear John letter her? Are you gonna give her a Dear John letter?
She's like in a
I
cell
suppose-
on Arcania, isn't she?
Yep.
Yeah.
I suppose it'd be Dear Jane, but
So what's So, what is her status?
Waging expedition to the Klingon Empire.
It's complicated.
Awesome.
She's not in a great place.
She's not.
Yeah, she basically she was captured by House Ogita and Varder.
What are the
Yeah.
charges on her this time?
Transporting dangerous material, espionage, smuggling, consorting with enemies of the Empire, aiding and abetting, imperiling sapient life, on top of the various other charges she has pending in the Klingon Empire, ranging from graft to fraud to bribery of Klingon officials, both Klingon Defense Force and in the councils, both high and low. Remember, she was a criminal mastermind before she came into Starfleet service. Well, not Starfleet service, Starfleet employ. But they found her basically. She was basically going to transport the official thing that she was nailed for that got her this time around was the fact that she was, and the reason why House of Gita in particular is pissed at her is because she was transporting the Isolanier chips with the data to House Rasa, who is a rebel house that basically broke away out from under House of Gita and has darted off to the Shackleton Expanse to engage in her strange experiments, or try to re-engage her experiments on the Kashoans.
It's the last 10 seconds. My Discord wonked out.
It's okay. It wasn't anything important anyway.
Adler bad.
I look bad.
But yeah, suffice to say, she has a lot of charges. They just managed to negotiate her not being like murdered on the spot. It's like, okay, well, we're going to take her into custody first and do our thing, and then you can, because she basically actually Adler's the one who basically stood on ceremony and said, well, I'm a Federation citizen, I surrender to Federation authorities, and she gets all the protections of a Federation citizen the minute she did that.
Mm-hmm.
Now she still can be extradited, but that becomes a politics issue. That becomes the and you know that Varder basically said that he at least, if not Tiger Squadron, was not going to make any efforts to stall the extradition. But
Yeah.
extradition processes are, even if they're fast tracked, can take weeks, if not months.
Yeah.
But if you really wanted to stall, it would take years. But it doesn't sound, from Varder's point of view, unless he says otherwise, he's not stepping on the brake at all.
No.
He's not hammering down, but he's not slowing down either.
Yep.
I've done enough favors for Adler.
Uh-huh.
Yep. And she knew enough not to push. She's like, I'm surrendering. It's like, I'm duty bound to protect you because you're a Federation citizen.
Yep.
So crap.
Yeah. So Grennan's gonna walk in.
Do you walk in?
Mm-hmm.
See a security officer standing there. Sir?
Ensign, you stand relieved for the moment. You can step out.
As Ensign starts walking out, he mutters under his breath, why doesn't any officer trust me to be in there?
Hey, Varder,
Like every time you people come in here, you tell them to get out.
Varder didn't.
Yeah, because he knows what it's like to be on the lower rank.
Irene.
Harmon?
So
She crosses her legs and folds her arms, but smiles.
is this it?
How do you mean?
Well, you're gonna end up going off to the Klingon Empire to face their justice, aren't you?
Well, assuming I don't get a good lawyer.
Yeah. Well,
One with experience in Klingon jurisprudence and Federation law, a respected member of Starfleet society, a decorated officer, youngest in his field.
Are you asking me to be your lawyer?
You still have your license, don't you? Your credentials, if you will.
I do.
Unless you want me to have my head stuck on a pike somewhere in Kronos to show little boys and girls how bad it is to be a fraudster.
Okay, before we can even get to that, we have to talk first.
Okay.
Because we haven't been able to have an honest conversation since
We met.
everything... Huh?
Since we met, Harmon.
Yeah, and that's the problem.
Harmon, you're cute, but
No,
you're
Irene.
also very hideously naive.
Irene, I am about to be an admiral. I can't have someone at my side who's going to constantly run around in the background playing Maverick Wildcard.
Someone has to get things done.
Yeah, I know.
Or what about that bit where I saved your life? Or that bit that I helped you with the Cowcat? Or the part where I helped you get back your precious isolinear chips that had death chemicals in it? How about the part that I was the forward operator mastermind of your intelligence network for a few weeks? Or the fact that if I wanted to ruin you, I would have done it already. The problem is that Starfleet is too scared of its own shadow and is unwilling to admit that sometimes you need people like me to get things done.
Maybe Starfleet does need people like you to get things done. I don't like it, but maybe that's the way it is. Maybe you're right.
I know I'm right.
But I can't be with someone like that, Irene.
She stands up and walks near the force field.
Not anymore. Irene, if I'm gonna do this, if I'm going to help you out of this, which I want to help you out of this, but Irene, when I go to Narendra Station, I want you to be there with me.
What's my name?
Did Irene ever tell me her name?
Give me presence plus command difficulty 5.
Okay.
You would have had time to talk to her, but you had to get her to trust you, and
Yeah,
that's
okay.
incredibly difficult with this person.
Yep, okay. So, first things first, I'm going to spend my determination for... I can't believe I'm finally getting to use this value. Hopeless Romantic.
Sure, 100% applies. Never thought
No.
I'd get it to fire either, but hey, here we are.
Yeah. And I am going to spend... You said Presence Command, so screw it. I'll spend 5 momentum to get 4 dice.
Spending
I
all
don't
that
think-
hard one.
Huh?
Spending all that hard-earned momentum from your
Yeah.
subordinates. Typical admirals.
That was so hard one.
Shush.
Telling myth the shush.
Who
Wow,
have been-
rude.
who have been generated by someone getting drunk.
An
Okay.
NPC getting drunk.
That is
Yes.
6 hits. I get 1 momentum back. Oh, are you about to type it up to me? Oh boy.
Her actual name is Miranda Kingsley. She just never uses that name. She sometimes uses Miranda to double back on her own cover, but
Yeah.
Miranda's her actual first name. But she always goes by Irene Adler,
Yeah.
which is hilarious to her immensely because she knows that the only people who would ever get that that's a pseudonym are people from Earth or
Yeah.
Sherlock Holmes fans. Which, like, yeah, who reads
Both.
ancient era Earth mystery novels?
Which Grennan is both.
Yeah.
So just Grennan, size, Miranda, please.
Then you know that I live for the frontier, Harmon. I live for the danger. I live for the connections, the power that gives me. And I've been, for the most part, pretty good at avoiding trouble like this. And I'm not gonna become someone who I'm not. All I can say is that I am willing to come with you, but I still need a mountain to climb, a challenge to conquer. If it isn't the Klingons or the Romulans or the Federation, it has to be somebody else. I'm not content to sit and twiddle my thumbs and look at a white-jacketed admiral swanning about on his space station. I need a challenge. And if you don't mind me taking out my exercises and expanding my influence into the Shackleton, then I'm perfectly fine not to turn back towards the old enemies. I'll just make new ones. And new friends. I do make friends, believe it or not. And perhaps I can use that influence to help out your operation.
But Irene, you can't keep running. Not from me. Not after everything we've been through.
You're Starfleet. If I don't run, you are an accessory. If I tell you exactly what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, then you are putting your career at risk, even your life in some cases. If you were at all in the loop about what I was doing about those chips, I don't think the Klingons would be wanting just my head. They'd be after yours too. I don't mind putting my neck on the line, but I don't like putting other people's necks on the line. It's not sporting.
Damn it, Irene. That's what a relationship is. It's standing up for each other when the chips are down.
If you're willing to help me with my operations, I'm fine. I just don't know if you want to get into that sort of business. You're frankly more squeaky clean than these floors. It's like, I don't know, defiling a field of snow.
I want to help you, Miranda, but damn
Then
it.
do so.
I'm going to do it my way. The way I know how. And he stops. I guess you're going to help me in the way you know how, aren't you?
That's generally how I operate, yes. She smiles.
Grennan just laughs. So, I guess I'll be seeing you on Kronos then, huh?
Well, I hope you're there for my extradition trial at the very least.
Huh, yes. I guess that would be held here, wouldn't it?
All right. Well, I'll need you in the Kismet to escort me to the starbase, since I've told people not to attack your ship, so... Because I have a lot of people who are on standby to break me out of whatever ship I'm on, unless it's one of yours.
Yeah, and, well, I'll just say this. Although, actually, wait, just to refresh my memory, was Adler the one who pointed me to the, to that lawyer in the Klingon Empire, or was that someone else?
I want to say that's someone else, unless someone corrects me, but I don't think I think she was out of contact at that time.
She was not around. Yeah.
Okay, because I was just trying to remember who put us in touch with that lawyer that helped me out on Kronos.
I think that was
Telpak. I think that was it. It was either Telpak. Yeah, it was Telpak. I was gonna say it was that rear ad. You were rescuing him. So.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. In that case, then, Brennan will just say, but if all else fails and I'm unable to prevent you from getting extradited, I know a good lawyer in the Empire.
I knew you would. Making friends and influencing people. It's all a matter of getting more power and influence. To save the ones you love and control that which would threaten you.
Yeah.
That is definitely a skill you'll need to hone when you're working on the Shackleton.
Save the ones you love.
Don't worry, I'll help.
One last thing then, before I really commit to this. Miranda.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks her dead in the eyes. Do you love me?
I don't know yet.
Oh, that hurts.
Just inside her.
Yeah, does she mean that?
Insight, command, difficulty of 1.
Spend a momentum.
Sure.
Get some of that momentum back for you guys. That's 2.
That's probably the most honest she's ever been. That's the most honest. You see no smile, no quirk, no body movement. She just says it straight, like just no preamble, nothing. She just answers, which is a thing she never does, unless. And you've just learned that's when she's being honest, generally.
Yeah, that hurt. Grinnin just nods. Okay.
Harmon, in my life, I've never been able to trust anybody. Trusting people is how people die, or get sold into slavery, or disappear in some star, or get interrogated by a Tel Shiar. Doesn't matter if they're wearing white uniforms, red uniforms, even green uniforms. Doesn't really matter. Everyone betrays in the end. But you don't. Now, I thought maybe, I don't know, you just really liked ladies with purple hair. You thought my name was funny. I never bothered to try to love somebody or get to know them beyond them as an asset. So, I'm willing to treat you as more than an asset. What that means, I don't know, honestly. But I'm willing to try and figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. See you around the block, Miranda.
Suggestion for you, she says as she's sitting down on the bed.
Yeah.
You should probably have a talk with Efrix about this. You need to have more than one advisor in your life, lest you be betrayed by manipulators and spy masters. She smiles.
Be seeing you. Yeah. And Brennan leaves.
Efrix gets out there. You're here? God damn it.
That hurt.
Thought I was done with his toxic relationships.
Yeah, but
See,
Gwynedd
at least
likes
I'm
it.
trying to. See, at least I'm trying to represent a wholesome and loving relationship. So.
Myth or Rix, please cheer us up.
Oofta.
Did you just call me Rick?
No, I'm Rix. Rix Arlen.
Oh, okay.
Hi, I'm the FNG.
No
You've
one
heard of me,
remembers.
right?
Afrix, you know.
I was like, that's not a nickname you've ever called me, and
What you gonna do? What you gonna do about it? Come at me, Efrix.
I think she's literally trying to come after you. She's driving right now to come after you.
It's a long drive up to Canada.
She would.
yeah, that'd be a really long drive.
That would be a really long road.
No, don't even.
No.
No.
I will fridge the heck out of your SO. Don't tempt me.
Oh.
Yep. You gave the DM that power.
Yeah, it's true. I'll go up next, I guess.
Okay.
So, what are the we're playing with the last day right now, right?
Essentially, yeah.
Then I'd like to try to work out with Pend to make sure that the crew transfer paperwork and offers are all in order for tomorrow, so that people will have time to decide, like Arlen and everything.
You don't want them to have to figure that question out, light years apart. I want to transfer now, dude. We are 20 light years in the wrong way. You're gonna have to get out
Yeah,
to the next starbase. Sorry.
And I imagine a lot of that work, because we've been having these meetings, has been sending out those things, but collating them all and making sure that those decisions get made. Any remaining ones get sent out.
Control plus command difficulty 2 to start sorting through and double checking and triple checking.
Yep. Focus in Starfleet protocols?
Yeah.
Right. I'll buy one die here and
With?
yeah, should I? Momentum. You don't have any reroll for command. Actually deciding whether I should or not. Yeah, actually I'm gonna not buy that die, and instead I'm going to activate augmented control and bump up my comp range to 3. Alright then. 4 hits on the diff 2 and 2.
Yeah, you're able to. You've basically sorted out everyone who needs to be sorted. There's a couple of files that aren't Tiger Squadron related. There's there's people who are transferring off the plank to other ships, to other assignments. Other people who are signing on, but those are problems you'll have to wait until you just have to wait for those ones to resolve. But all the ones you can influence, everyone's sorted. The big question mark really is Rix, who is still sitting on the transfer order, hasn't really pulled the trigger which way he wants to go. But everyone else has basically decided whether they're staying on the plank or they're moving to the Achilles. Some people want to move DSE. Some people want to move from to the Kismet. That sort of thing.
All right. Great. I think all my other things have to happen after we've parted ways, really.
Okay. Rix,
Hi.
what are you up to on your last day?
Well, I suppose I have a grave decision to make considering my future.
Yes.
And as usual, we're making you make the decision.
Tiger Squadron is nothing but a pool of choices.
We've also got 3 ships.
Well, 4 if you count DSE.
Not a ship, it's a station.
4 postings.
There's even rumors they're going to have an outpost on Shosku. What was that, Efric? Sorry.
We can move the station if there's a moon slide.
Rude. That's not just theoretical.
We did it before, and we can do it again.
Dude, you weren't here?
Wasn't he, though? Wasn't he?
I was here in spirit.
No.
Oh.
So what you doing, Rix?
Well, after I take Yolin and back to our quarters and lay him down to sleep,
Spicy.
make sure that he's not going to fixate on his vomit overnight.
He'll be fine. He's just
He'll be
just
fine.
tipsy.
He's all right. So we're not at that stage of healthcare.
No.
I'm gonna be in the engineering deck of DSE. Just gonna stand at one of the upper railings and watch everyone. Watch
What do
the
you
nighttime activity.
What are you contemplating?
I am contemplating if I want to stay and continue doing the technical testbed stuff, or if I wish to go explore strange new worlds and find new challenges is that I haven't even comprehended yet.
Insight command, difficulty of 2.
Focus in Starfleet protocols.
I'd say so.
Or tinkering with my destiny.
I wouldn't say yes to that.
All right. Yeah, I'll take a momentum.
You spend a considerable amount of time pondering, but you glean no insights as you stare at the workings of the Orion-style warp core with Federation fittings and upgrade and refits.
Question for something that could be thrown at him to help that out.
What's that?
Sarissa is around on the station, and she's in the same position that he is as well. She's also a lieutenant.
Yeah,
You wanna...
And
That'd
if
be
someone
fun.
just kind of, she's the kind of person to be like, oh, hey, I know what you're doing when you're just staring at the warp core. We had a Bajoran engineer that did that, remember? They're dead now, but oh well.
Well, that's
well.
definitely professional.
That's how she deals with problems, the Cation way.
Claws out.
Shink.
No, she's just generally the very chippery, helpfully person, so
On the outside.
yeah.
But
Dead on the
yeah,
inside
no.
like the rest of us.
The chief of security for the station, Lieutenant Sarissa, comes by and sees our Rix kind of staring at the engine core.
And you know, it's a pretty. Oh yeah, okay. She helps. That's a 1.
Cirrus is able to help him sort out his thoughts a bit and loop him in on how, making a lieutenant junior grade to lieutenant is basically don't screw your job up and eventually you get upped eventually. Eventually. Just say that a million times. But there is actually 2 right answers here. Well, 3 if you think about it. One, the most daring path is straight up taking the Achilles. When you're offered a transfer to go off into the frontier, it looks good on your resume to do it. Makes you sound like a go-getter, makes it seem like you're willing to take on dangerous assignments, and Starfleet tends to up people who gain acclaim, and acclaim typically happens on frontier missions, not stay-at-home missions. It happens. I mean, that's how Daystrom's so popular. But on the other hand, working on the plank you are right that working on the plank could give you time to hone your skills, and eventually, once you make lieutenant and you have some minor acclaims of your own, after proving yourself as a chief engineer, you could apply for the Achilles on your own and push on later. Maybe not this year, maybe not even next year. You might even give it a couple of years and really get some working experience, so that it's hard for anyone to buck you out of the position of chief engineer on the Achilles. Because the Achilles is going to be a pretty choice posting, because it's going to be going to the Shackleton. It's the newest ship of the line. It's a NX class ship, as it were. So it's going to be put against the wall a lot of the time. So if you go out there, you're going to be competing with some of the best engineers in Starfleet who want to work on a ship like that. But if you're the first one there, then you can possibly get up that way. So the third option is
you already have it, and I already have an in because, well, I know Captain Impend, so I already have like half a foot in the door. Networking's half of leveling up.
Yep. Well, the last one is simply actually stepping away and taking on in the Federation, you go into a civil service, whether it's the Vulcan Science Academy or Bolian Studies, or taking a stint with the Cardassian Protectorate Service and helping with science that way. Basically getting academic acclaim in some manner or another, and then coming back and then using that to leverage yourself into a promotion. Because Starfleet is, as much as it's a militant organization and a lot of militant traditions, it is an exploration and scientific endeavor. So that's why doctors don't. If you're a full-on medical doctor, you don't come in as like a lieutenant minimum, or a commander's in some cases. It's like, yeah, you have like you have a lot of academic achievement and experience that can go into the industry, as it were. So that is the third option that you can kind of discover, which is I think Caitians do from time to time. They just go back to the home world and become better at whatever they do, and then go back into service. Vulcans do that sometimes with a demotion, but they'll take it because they have a long time to live. They don't care. But yeah, you have 3 very valid options you could take. It's just a matter of how you wish to progress through Starfleet. The big thing is making sure you push. You need to push yourself just a little bit, and no matter which way you go. Because if you take it too safe, then yeah, you're going to look at a stunted career. I will be right back on that note.
Be stuck like as the forever lieutenant.
But yeah, it's one of those. I think we've had it in the past with different characters. I think we all very much prefer people to make their own choices of how they want to progress.
Oh, I know. And and out of character, I've already decided this. I'm just trying to make dramatic decisions in character.
I mean, either way,
it seemed like I fully weigh the options and consider this from an in-character point of view.
I mean, the 3 ways presented all seem actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And like from a fully out of character perspective, we know where Arlen ends up in 5 years, but the path, any of these paths could work for that.
Yeah, it's really all 5'2" a vacation. tapping the side of your head, then your chest. Think less, feel more, and go with what that says is right.
I am back.
Well, I was born near a warp core, or at least a couple decks away from one.
I have heard that many times from Bolians.
Supposedly a sign of good luck, but could also be a sign that I'm supposed to be out there among the stars, never really settling down.
I think a lot of these signs that everyone tries to tell you about are for you to decide. It's not. It could be written for you. Location born under full moon, supposed to be in the sky, is okay. I can choose what I want to do with it. That is, in the end, what is mattering here. Not overthinking. Not weighing up what everyone else is thinking. You know what is right for you. And you need to feel that, not all this thinking. And also not all of them moping and staring at the warboard. I know some people like to say it can speak to them, but I've not heard it. I hear people. People are nice. You've got plenty of people around you.
It's not so much the warp core or that speaks; it's the environment around it. Seeing the crew who work on it tend to it. It keeps them safe, and they keep it safe.
In a sense, then, you are Warp Core as Engineer Chief, yes? You look after them, they look after you. But those are your people. Everyone on the station, those ships, all of them. You have people to talk to, Arlen, not alone. And you have the right choice in your heart. No one can tell you which one is right.
Thank you. I think I have to go make a call. But thanks for the talk.
Of course. And she'll just, smile, little wave, and continue walking, sort of just doing patrols.
Yep. And I'm gonna go and I'm going to contact Captain Pend.
Like, do you just find a nearby panel and call him up, or do you tap your badge? Do you tackle him in the hallway?
I'd like to see that one.
I don't want to tackle Pend. That went badly. Yeah, I'll tack my comm badge. Arlen to Captain Pend.
This is Pend here. How can I help you, Mr. Arlen?
I would like to take you up on the offer for the position on the Achilles.
That's wonderful news. I will ask, considering where we're going, and this is going to be a significant portion of the next at least couple of years of your life. Is this absolutely the decision you wish to make?
Yes, it is.
Understood.
I need to. We're out here to see the next front. to see the final frontier, and it seems like the Achilles is heading in that direction.
Well, if that's the case, just finish up the paperwork that's on the pad that you've received. Hand it to myself aboard the Achilles, and I will officially accept your commission aboard.
Thank you, sir.
Glad to have you. Is there anything else?
Not at this moment.
Understood. I am I am trying to do things, but if you do think of anything else that you need to talk about, please just contact me.
Will do, sir. Piers, I have to wake someone up and tell them that we're moving.
I'll have fun with that. And Pend will just cut the comms.
Fair.
Fair.
I mean, to be fair, he's just told him what he needs to do and how to do it.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
That's all you needed to do.
Yep. So I guess I need to scoop up Yolan and say, all right, we're moving.
Yeah.
Which we were already packed and ready to go anyways. We're just kind of in limbo about which direction we were going.
As Arlan makes his preparations, Fleet Captain Grennan, Commander Myth, and Captain Pend all get pinged by Commander Wright.
Huzzah!
Basically, you're being called in your comm badges. This is Commander Wright to Fleet Captain Grennan, Captain Pend, and Commander Myth.
This is Fleet Captain Grennan.
This is Pend.
Go ahead.
Just wanted to confirm that we've gotten most of your resupplies underway. Wanted to update you on a few things before the meeting today, or tonight, I should say, or this morning. Gods. So, I believe we have all the torpedoes refitted, and we have the relevant people moved. I have everything ready for shove off in Alpha Shift tomorrow, so that's all set. Also wanted to loop you in on a security notice. It seems that House of Gitta is moving out and House Vorcha is moving in, so they'll be the contact in this region. So before you may wish to update your ships on. I'm putting out the briefing now, but from what Sarissa was able to get me. But the short answer is it seems that Vorcha is going to uphold the agreement we had before, but be aware that Vorcha is a political maneuverer and may be trying to get some sneak peeks on the Achilles. So I have, for now, I've told them that if they want to have any tours of the Achilles, they'll need to talk to Captain Pend, but to please not bother him, to please speak to me first. Because I imagine, Captain Pend, that you don't want them to be poking around our most advanced starship at the moment.
I mean, I'd prefer them not to, but if they wish for a tactical demonstration, I'd be happy to warn them off any possible moves. It'll just say with a smirk.
My
It was a joke.
My
Commander.
suggestion. I understand, sir. Just letting you know, you may want to keep an eye out on Klingons who may want some extra hollows of your ship. So, but I don't think anyone's going to be attacking you anytime soon. Everyone seems to have a pretty good idea that messing with the Shosku system and its current garrison is not the wisest of moves.
But yes, I will beware of Klingons asking for hollows.
What else? Oh yes, it seems that I wish to advise all of you that House Telpox seems to be maneuvering into the Pedro subsector. They seem to be going on some new crusades. We won't be seeing them for the next few days. So if you do see someone claiming to be Telpoc in the sector, they should be with the fleet here. If they're not, then they're false claiming to hopefully evade capture. But use your own discretion. I'm just passing along the info that I learned from Telpoc. Well, Bakara.
Understood.
Confirming with you, Fleet Captain. So you are taking the prisoner Adler with you?
Yes, we will.
Okay. All right, I'll have that set up under Protocol Alpha 2 or Alpha 3. I'm not sure how big we want it to be. Or do you want to just leave that in Varder's hands?
I'll leave that to Varder.
All right, I'll pass that off to him then.
Huh.
Is there anything else I need to? Yeah.
Recently we've had some Ferengis in system trying to acquire the prisoners, correct?
Yes.
I'll be sending over some files and some documentation. So if they keep trying to come back, you've got a bit more defense against them, basically.
Got it. Thanks for digging into that. I was not looking at having that conversation. Because, I don't deal with Ferengi very often.
No one wants to deal with the Ferengi.
Klingons do, apparently.
Yeah, but they're Klingons.
Wow.
All right then, sir.
I mean, did you read the previous fleet reports from Varda? They literally... What happened in that mission to Starstar? I stand by my point.
Very well, sir. Anything any of you wish me tonight? I'm just finishing up some stuff for you. Grab something to eat.
It may be a day or two after tomorrow that the Magical Plank will be officially leaving system. We have a number of calculations to make before engaging in the next series of tests. But we should need any additional support from the station.
Okay, I'll have you in the. I'll give you a priority port in the meanwhile. There, Commander, Captain. Sorry, you got promoted recently. Sorry.
Thank you.
Nice if someone updated my files on a regular basis. There, Lieutenant Commander. I mean, it's almost like it's someone's job to do that, but you know.
Are you going to be at the meeting tomorrow?
Tonight, you mean?
Whenever.
Yeah, I'll be there. I'm just grabbing dinner before I.
Okay,
to that.
Just making sure.
Yeah. Right then, I'll talk with all of you later then. Captains all.
Commander.
Commander.
And then we cut to
Captain.
the lounge.
Captain.
No.
As somehow in your busy as hell schedules, Commander Wright is able to meet with Dr. Efrix, as you both manage to somehow find 5 minutes or at least 15 minutes out of your day to go, okay, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna actually eat in the lounge at a table.
Not in Efrix's office or Wright's.
You notice Wright is eating nothing Andorian. She seems to be eating a lasagna with some sort of soda drink. Very earth plate in front of her. Happily numbing away.
Mm-hmm.
What is Efrix eating?
That's a good question.
I mean, with a Denobulant, it could be a lot of things.
Yeah, I know.
True.
I'm like, it could be anything, really.
Klingon Vulcan hybrid cuisine.
Oh
It's a
yeah.
fusion.
Uh-huh. Yep.
You wouldn't think it would work, but it does.
It's plant-based protein that tastes like meat. Yeah.
Plant-based gach. They even get it to move.
Yeah.
Little electrodes that make edible electrodes that make them twitch.
Yeah.
I have no idea how you're eating that, Doctor. None.
It's not bad.
I will take your word for it.
At least it doesn't turn your teeth colors like some food.
Hey, have you met Rix's husband? Yolan?
I don't believe so.
He's a bowl full of sugar, I'll say that. Denoblin. But
Oh,
I
we
think
do that
it's all-
sometimes.
yeah. Oh, I think it's just him and Rix that are together, from what I can get. I mean, I didn't want to ask too much. I mean, I know Denoblin's a lot more open about that stuff, but I was raised to be careful about asking about someone's relationship like that.
Well, it may not be too unusual. Rix is relatively young.
Is it polite to ask a Denoblin their age?
I don't think most of us have a stigma about it.
Oh.
I mean, everyone's an individual, I suppose, but
I mean, in general.
I don't think so. Everyone I've ever met, it's been pretty open about it, but we age a little differently than like a human.
Oh, I heard that Rix is going over to the Achilles, apparently.
Ah. It'll be a good ship. It'll have to be. Or Pind'll make it so, one way or the other.
So what about you, though, Doctor? She eats a bit. I heard you're getting a directorship. She waves her hands. Woo.
Yeah. And a promotion, and it's a lot. Not what I was expecting. At most, I thought maybe they'd offer me a teaching position at the academy.
So where are they sending you off to? You gonna get your own hospital ship or something?
Not quite. It seems, Grinnin just can't get rid of me. Off to Shackleton.
In the Kismet? Oh wait, no, he's taking the Admiralty thing, is it? On Narendra? Really?
Yeah,
Okay. Huh.
it'll be different. I mean, not so different. I guess that's kind of what I've been doing here, anyway.
Well, at least you won't be working with aftermarket Orion parts. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like
Well-
a challenge, but this place, oh, it's always something new.
That's true. We'll see what the station looks like when we get out there. I don't know.
Hmm.
Everything that they've been through. Who knows? TSE might be in better shape.
That's yeah. I heard some rumors. I read some of the reports about what happened when the Tripolity took over. And after the mission, it's looked pretty beat up. I mean, I don't think it's quite so blasted like DS9 was back in the day, but
Mm-hmm.
at least you'll be working with Federation parts. She shrugs.
Have time to really dig into my medical equipment knowledge.
Before you know it, you've noticed Wright has consumed the entirety of her lasagna, and she motions at Dharma for more.
Is that good?
It's I think he replicated the cheese a bit, but it's close enough.
Replicated cheese is always such a strange texture. She says as she slurps plant-based cock.
Uh-huh.
Something wrong with your lasagna? No, more please. Do you want a smaller portion or no? Okay, and let's go with a strawberry milkshake this time. And she hands him she puts the bottle of the soda she just slurps down and puts it on the plate, hands it to him. He kind of blinks at her like,
Dairy.
the hell? Okay. Wanders off.
This is what happens when you get one meal a day.
Oh, I'm gonna go on a run after this. Well, after the meeting. Ugh. I haven't had any chance to work out. It's been driving me nuts. I was trying to do a fun run on Shosku, but apparently there's still the big security advisory, so can't go around poking around and accidentally get someone assimilated. Not that I think that's gonna happen, but you know. One lasagna and strawberry milkshake. The town gives her a look. Thank you. Anything for you, Averix?
I'm good. She says she takes another forkful. If you ever see me running, it's because something is chasing me.
Right, tilts her head at you. What? Oh, the jogging thing, right.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I thought you were referencing your food. I mean, I might chase you.
I don't think the plant-based kind would.
I don't know, there's sentient plants out there.
There are. But usually they have, roots. Makes it kind of difficult to run.
Well, some people have class ricks. No.
Yeah, but it's Vulcan hybrid cuisine, and they don't eat with their hands because reasons.
It's a special Goth fork, specifically for the fusion dishes.
Mm-hmm.
Goth fork.
Oh, no.
I dare you to say that on Kodos, a goth orc.
It's actually a spork.
It's a mini batleth.
Oh, that's cute. Be careful, you might cut your tongue.
They're like those little cheese forks.
Mm-hmm.
You've ever seen those?
Yep.
Yeah, Doc. Efrix, did you get anything special done today on your last day? Yeah, I tried not to give you too much more work.
Yeah. So Efrix has not actually talked to Varder in like several weeks, and I personally don't know what's happening with him, and I feel like that's wrong for their characters.
A minor flashback then. Earlier in the day. Oh god, we're in the brig now.
Time war began.
I'm not there.
Oh, no, we're all being slowly erased from history.
Mind your tenants.
Erasing myself from the narrative.
Yeah, Efrix, you earlier in the day you a somewhat preoccupied Bajoran carrying a black case with a big Starfleet security symbol on it and a biohazard warning and do not touch warnings in various Federation languages kind of strapped to him as he's furiously typing at his pad trying to counter some security matter or another. But yeah, you encounter him in a hallway somewhere aboard DSC. Or you encountered, I should say, past tense.
Yeah. That looks important.
Oh yeah, you could say that. Hello, Efrix. Admirals. They don't like it when you give them an idea that's not their own.
Yeah, that checks out. So, where are they sending you? Or am I not allowed to know?
No, Aegeus, then Aegis. However you say that in your starbase's name.
Aegis.
Aegis.
Then maybe somewhere else. Then maybe to prison. I don't know yet.
She cocked her head. Wait, what?
Hopefully not. I'm trying to behave.
Are you? Was that a joke, or were you actually maybe going to prison?
I'm pretty sure it's a joke at the moment.
Just because I've been like arrested and accused of things several times, so just making sure.
I know.
Yeah, no, you don't. I told you.
I also looked into it. What about you?
Apparently, Grinning can't get rid of me. They're sending me to the Shackleton.
Poor Grinning. No, if everything goes well, I'm likely to be working with Captain Athaddon, if you've heard of him.
I think he arrested me. Yeah.
Yes, he did.
Oh.
Okay.
Pardon
him.
me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just step. Actually, we can take a seat over here. You know.
Yeah.
That is a table.
Oh.
Okay.
You sit on tables.
Yeah. Oh, but he's looking at a new little. What did he call it? What did he actually call it? Did he call it a task force?
Yep.
Yeah. A little investigative task force.
Fun. For you, I don't want to be involved.
Well, given it might be looking into missing people, I would certainly hope you wouldn't be involved. Other than that, I think I got an offer to work with House of Goethe. That's certainly something that's happened. I guess I'm still popular with the Klingons.
You do always seem to get their attention.
I haven't even tried to headbutt one yet. It just happens.
Yet.
Yes. Unless you
I
count.
mean, you do know a certain amount of information about Calcut, Kasho.
Yeah. That certainly makes an interesting relationship with the Lord of the House. We
And
found something
you happen to be
interesting.
friends with the doctor that knows quite a bit about them too.
We did find something interesting out about the Kasho, though, that I think you'd like to know.
Oh, is it classified?
No. I think as a species, they're still Krishoan, but as far as a people, you know, like how you've got people that live on a different planet, they won't call themselves humans, they'll call themselves whatever the hell planet they're from.
Sure.
Yeah. The crystal entity within myself is a nation of Varder, apparently. And the one within Oda is a nation of Oda.
And how do you feel about that?
You know, I thought it was just a different me inside my head, so I'm glad to know I'm not. I'm actually less crazy than I sounded.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you've spoken about that before.
Turns out it's just them taking on or mimicking me, I guess. It's strange. Well, I suppose there's always more to learn, right?
Certainly.
In this case, I'm not sure if it's about myself or about others, or both at the same time.
Probably both.
And you did hear about House Rasa, correct? What they're probably planning on doing? Or almost certainly planning on doing?
No, I don't think so.
They claim that they found a way to find the Kashoans.
Don't think they want to be found.
No, they've got options. Options that we would rather them not use, which is where Oda and I come into helping them again. Or helping others.
Hmm.
So if you're in the Shackleton, and that's where she's gone, probably run into you at least one or two more times.
Alright. So be on the lookout for anyone that...
Yeah. I'll try not to be missing any limbs or, need critical surgery whenever I see you. Just as a favor for a friend.
Well, it won't be my job. It'll be my job to tell somebody else to take care of you.
Ooh. Going up in the world.
It'll probably be my job, let's be real.
Would you really let anyone else handle it? You'd
No.
be too concerned.
And also, I don't think I could give up completely being a doctor to just be a paper pusher.
No, that doesn't sound like you to just watch.
Although that's what they want me to do, I'm pretty sure. Which is... Whew.
Yeah, well, what they want and what you do are different things. Oh, no, that argument will not work. Thank you very much. I am still carrying the case. Sorry, typing for a second. They don't like someone else having personal custody of the thing they want. But I made a promise, and I do intend on keeping it. So, I should see you at the meeting tonight, unless, something horribly wrong happens, but I don't think so.
Oh,
Not that anything horrible will happen.
I'm not going to double down on that because then something horrible will happen.
What's the human saying? Knock on wood? Oh, except for the fact that I don't think there's any wood around here. So that doesn't help.
Knock on synthetic whatever this is. And she knocks on the
flat
table.
Surface. Yeah. We'll keep in touch.
Of course. As much as you can.
I mean, there's nothing that stops me talking to you. There's just things that stop me talking about specific things.
Well, unless you're undercover, or in the past, or out of range, or...
I'm not typically undercover. Have I been undercover an intelligence officer yet? I don't think so.
Or...
No.
In the mirror universe, or...
If I'm in the mirror universe, then there's a sincere problem, and it is not my intention to be there.
I mean, in general, yes.
Yeah. Barring circumstances, we'll keep in contact.
All right. Well, see you later tonight. Better let you go deal with whatever important thing that is.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, I'll tell you that much. See you around, Lieutenant Commander. Or should I start calling you
Question.
Commander now?
Yeah. Question, GM. Have I been promoted yet? Or is that later?
It's probably going to happen at the meeting, I'd imagine.
Yeah, okay. Not quite
we-
yet, but soon.
Hmm.
Evidently.
Well, that sounds like you were able to touch base with him at least. Should be seeing him again. Pretty sure he's coming today, tonight, this morning, whichever.
He said he was.
Hmm. I really shouldn't have gotten strawberry milkshake. That was a bad idea. Ugh, that does not mix at all. Ugh.
It did seem like an awful lot of dairy. Dairy, yes.
It's not the cream. The strawberry and meat just isn't working for me. Ugh.
A flavor combination I've not yet tried.
I wouldn't. Ugh.
Challenge
I'm excited.
accepted.
I mean, she shoves it over to you. If you want to finish it. Oh. Well, I'm not sure that goes with gach. Or gach salad.
God, salad.
Gachlet?
Gallad.
Yeah.
Cheeto Ka?
Yoga.
Well, no. See, it's like the gach are like they're those tiny little like curly croutons. You know the gach.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's a
Yeah.
hunt in the forest. Gach.
It's not in the forest.
That's literally how you order it. It's Hunt in the Forest.
God.
I'll see you at the meeting then, Fricks.
See you there.
One water to go, please. Sure. Here you go. Washes it down, puts the glass back down. Yeah, that didn't really help. Oh.
Yeah, some mistakes cannot be undone with water.
Is there any action Efrix wishes to do before attacking the meeting? Other than eating the food and stealing someone's milkshake.
She does drink the milkshake. It's fine. She's eaten much worse.
Yeah, she's eating Grenon's cooking. Way-ho! Anyway.
Oh, I was thinking back to Myth's birthday party.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rengi food.
Or Varder's
With extra
cooking.
snail juice.
Yeah.
You know it's good because
she,
it's green.
Yeah, where she and Myth compared flavor profiles.
Yeah. Varder
And
just
Barter
decided
said
not.
no.
Which
I
was
think we found out
probably-
afterwards that it would probably have killed him. Yeah.
I probably would have had to.
You would have had to
Like,
make a
and-
check.
Yeah, I would have
Yeah.
had to like induce vomiting on you.
Yeah.
Other than probably reaching out to her family and letting them know what the plan is if she hasn't already done that, which
All right.
I imagine
You-
she probably contacted them after the initial, like, hey, we want you to go here.
In that case, new scene. So people start filing in.
Yeah. I'll sit next to the better captain, clearly.
Oh, thanks.
Lieutenant, Doctor, Captains, Commander.
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 Alan, sit
But it's
down.
like 2 a.m. It's like 2 a.m. Right
Ugh.
now, sure.
Yeah.
He just puts the case down by his feet. Like, it's still here.
Fleet Captain, here's the paperwork for any remaining crew transfer requests. There's only, I believe, 7 of them who haven't made a decision. Just depends on authorization from each of the ship captains or station commanders, just over at right.
Right. These look to be generally in order. Hmm.
Captain Pend, my security officer did express interest in your ship. However, I was not sure, one, how we say continuous that interest might be, and 2, whether you already had someone for that position.
I don't have anyone set for that position yet. I am still going over candidates, so I can add him to the list. I can go over his records and see if I believe he's a suitable fit for my ship. That's the best I can give you.
Of course.
Certainly got the energy.
He's certainly got energy.
I believe he is quite thrilled with the prospect of such a security-oriented NX vessel.
I mean,
that's all I'll say on the matter right now.
I don't see a harm of him joining the vessel. I don't know if I'd have him as chief, though. That's the issue.
That might quell his desire.
But yes, I'll
make sure to pass on your considerations, though.
But
formally.
Yeah, that's no problem. That's the only. I said with the reservations about him being chief. If he wishes to join as a lieutenant and part of the crew, sure. But that's, I think, as much as I'd be willing to go.
I'm sorry. What is this about?
Max on the plank.
Lieutenant Max.
Oh yeah.
I was unsure how fleeting the fancy might be, though, as it wasn't in any official documentation, merely a conversation he had with me in a turbolift on our way to the bridge.
Well, if he's still interested after being told he can't be the chief of security, then he's more than welcome.
I'll make sure it is sorted out before the Achilles departs.
Thank you.
Does anyone want me to replicate some coffee or energy shots? She holds up a can. I'm already trying to stay awake.
No, when you get higher in command, you get used to it.
With all due respect, sir, shut it.
Yeah, I'll take an energy shot.
Okay, replicator's over there, Lieutenant. She points.
I grab my own shot. I see how it is.
You're the only junior officer.
Yeah,
I am.
I think if anyone else had said yes, she'd have asked you to do it anyway. I think that's what was going to happen.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you're able to
Anyone
get
else want something? Anyone else want something while I'm up here?
Nope.
Hot chocolate.
I mean, it does have a caffeine component to it. She shrugs at Efrix like, it's not a bad idea.
Yeah. Plus the sugar.
Who takes their hot chocolate with sugar?
Children.
It has sugar in it.
It naturally has sugar.
Oh, I thought you were adding sugar to it. Okay.
No,
Ooh.
well, no.
Knowing Grennan wouldn't surprise me.
I mean, I guess if you did the condensed sugar gelatin mixture that is marshmallows, you technically are.
Oh, marshmallows, that'd be great. Also, that's Fleet Captain there, Rix. Watch yourself. But she grins at everyone else when she's doing it. She's obviously...
Obviously getting ribbing.
Yeah.
Razzing.
So, shall we get this show on the road?
Yeah.
Your floor, Fleet Captain.
Fleet Captain Brennan looks at everyone and says, "We've come a long way these past couple years, haven't we?"
I think some of us longer than others.
Understatement.
It's been an honor to serve with each and every one of you.
It's been an experience.
Been an honor.
Couldn't have asked for a better ship.
For a better
I'll be
crew.
I'll be glad to see the back of you all.
Same to you.
She smiles.
Yeah, I mean, one of our first meetings was you just about stabbing me.
Our backs are rather attractive.
And here's me trying to make my front attractive. I should have been focusing on the back. God damn it.
You just need more blush, you'll be fine.
Hate to
Oh,
see
yes.
us go, love to watch us leave.
No, I can watch you leave all day.
Right.
Yes, sir.
And all gravitas is dead. Great.
This is
And
Tiger
yet,
Squadron. What
as-
gravitas do you think we had?
As is perfectly natural.
And yet, as one journey ends, and some more journeys are just beginning, so
Indeed. And
Yes.
who knows?
I guess the road never ends.
Indeed. Well put.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
Yes, my new engineer.
And who knows? If there's one thing I've learned over the past couple of years, Galaxy is a much smaller place than you think. It wouldn't surprise me if we all end up in a room like this again someday.
Gotta hope not. Finally getting rid of
Yeah,
you all.
in circumstances, at least.
Oh, Pend, you know you wouldn't have traded this for anything.
I quite literally traded the Kismet for my own ship.
I do not
Well,
believe
that's
that is
just-
how exchanges work, Captain.
The
That's just
experience,
hurtful.
Pend. The experience.
I mean, yeah, I've had quite a bit of experience. I even had quite a few offers back in the day to kill you from superior officers.
But you didn't.
But I could have.
But you could.
I appreciate your restraint.
I mean, back then I was a lot. I shouldn't say a lot more dangerous. I'm still dangerous, but a lot more unruly.
You know what we never made happen, Ted? Balloon boxing.
I mean, me and the fleet captain can go around now if you wish.
For old time's sake.
Hey, if you're game, sure.
Please don't.
Okay.
I'd be obliged to report it.
You would be striking
while
a
we're
flag
on-
officer.
Yeah, not while we're on duty.
To be fair, I'd be
Close.
I'd be striking a flag officer multiple times relentlessly.
See, that doesn't
With
make it any
balloons.
better there, Pen.
I can only get dinged once for it though.
Mm,
Anyhow, to actual business. So, presumably we'll all be departing in relatively short order. The Kismet has a couple of errands to run en route to. I presume is the Kismet eventually going to bring me to Narendra, or
No, they're going to be. I believe your flight plan serves Starbase A, and then you're going to get transferred onto another series of ships that'll guide you up to Narendra. I'm not sure if they're going to take you through the corridor, if they're going to take you across Klingon space, but I do know Kismet's supposed to be coming back here after they drop you off to continue with the Pedro subsector business. Because, frankly, we still need a garrison ship here.
I mean, I can give you a lift if you want.
No, I do have to, I have some business I have to take care of with a very particular guest on the Kismet.
Are you kidding me? With all due respect, sir. Is this about Adler again?
Of course it is. Who else would it be?
Oh, good. Then she made it out.
Brennan just sort of scratches behind his ears.
Did she ever get checked out by medical?
Right nods. She did. Not a scratch on her.
Nope. If I hadn't been there, there'd be a lot more than a scratch, but yes.
It wasn't physical so much as the mental strain that I was worried about. But
she waived that, actually. We couldn't order it. She shrugs.
Although, let's just say don't worry about it too hard. This is more than likely something I'm going to be handling, let's just say with some of my long overdue vacation days.
Well, with all due respect, sir, I think you should recuse yourself from any handling. I think you're overstepping yourself for using your position for personal gain.
I would be standing in a position as Fleet Captain Grennan.
But you're taking her on the Kismet, last I heard.
Indeed, she is being transported.
And perhaps Adler's using you again, sir? Like she always uses you? There's no smile on Wright. She seems to be dead on staring him on now. She seems actually upset.
I have had a very long talk with her about the trust that I have placed in her, how that trust has been used, and how we feel about each other. That is all I'm going to say about the matter. Everything else is personal.
You say the trust you've put in her. That trust has been used and abused. If it was an actual person, that relationship, we would have reported it to social services by now.
Fleet Captain, I can't order you to stay, but I am going to lodge a formal complaint.
Brennan, yes, you're right.
Anyway, considering that is going to happen. Anything else, Fleet Captain?
Let's see what else is on the docket. I believe we do have to take care of some business regarding you, Dr. Efrix.
Sir?
Yeah, a matter of rank, correct?
Oh. Yes.
Sounded so disappointed though. Yes.
Brennan lets out a slight laugh. Congratulations, Commander. It'll be great to have you on Narendra.
You almost think you were getting demoted.
The pip, sir, says right.
Yes, of course. Brennan reaches into sort of a little pocket thing that you never see on these uniforms, and he produces a pip.
Out there.
Walks over.
It's magic.
probably stand.
Gren will catch the pip, give her a salute.
Golf clap, golf clap.
Congratulations, Commander. It's well earned.
Welcome to the rat race, Doctor.
It was bound to happen eventually. Maybe, if I didn't get arrested or killed.
Oh,
Life is never easy on the frontier, is it?
no, it's not.
There's also still time.
This is true. I'm not at my cushy directorship yet.
So there's still ill time to completely mess up my transfer.
The year is young.
But the night very much not.
Is there any further squadron business to conduct before we officially dissolve this meeting?
I don't think there is.
Fleet
Unless
Captain.
someone- What did you say?
Traditionally one formally dissolves squadrons. You are the flag officer in command.
Well, Fleet Captain Grennan stands up. We've all done good work here. That work is done. Couldn't be prouder. But all things must come to an end, and with that, Tiger Squadron is hereby officially dissolved.
Right stands up.
Bismuth?
Yep, I'm penned.
And
And
efforts.
Arlen.
Varner stays sitting.
He's up. What?
He's up.
He's clearly mentally projecting himself up.
It has again been the honor of my life working with all of you. Know that my door is always open for any of you. Dismissed.
Right. And Myth will turn and leave as well.
Commander Wright?
Sir?
Just a quick moment.
Sir? Excuse me, Fleet Captain.
Efrix, if you have a moment as well, and
Of course, sir.
Oh, nope.
meet me in my ready room.
And I would like to have a moment with Myth.
You're gonna have to chase them down.
Chase him. I will
Catch
chase
her
him.
in turbo lift.
Yeah, and Varner's just there in the turbo lift with them, like, "Yep, okay, you can talk."
Who would like to go first?
Mine's gonna be very quick anyway.
Okay.
He'll stick his hand out for Commander Wright. Does she shake his hand?
Which hand does he reach out with?
His right.
She reached out with her right hand, the the actual flesh hand she has.
No, I'll do it with my left then. Makes no difference.
Yeah.
I just want to say thank you for actually taking on the job when I offered it to you. You've proven to be quite the competent officer, and as now shown over your service here, a competent commander. So, again, thank you for accepting, and good luck with your future commander.
Same to you, sir. Though, a bit of advice to you, sir.
By all means.
I'd make other allies under interstation than Grennan. Because I get the feeling that This won't be the last we're going to see of Adler if he gets her out of this jam again.
Oh, I guarantee it's not going to be the end of Adler. And yeah, I don't generally put all my... What's the Earth phrase? Eggs in one basket?
Yeah, I think that's it.
I generally keep a wide spread of contacts and allies.
Hmm.
But thank you very much for at least looking out.
Not at all, sir.
But sorry to take up your time. I just wanted to, again, say thank you.
Nope. Not at all, sir. Just make sure you get some rest. I know you can power through it, but you have a lot of flying to do. And I'm a fairly fit lady, and I'm still pretty tired, even with... She shakes a little can, even with this, so...
Well, once the Achilles sets off and at least everything is calm when we're underway, then I can get a bit of sleep.
Yeah.
What's after you?
Sir? Grinnin and Efrix, or Varder and Arlen and Myth, with Varder in the cheap seats.
I get to heckle.
I think mine will also be somewhat quick.
Okay. Efrix and Grinnin.
Efrix,
Captain?
thank you again for coming out with me to Narendra Station. It's does mean a lot to me. There is something I want to make sure that we get squared away before we leave. Again, not to go too much into it, because again, some of it is deeply personal. But after a long chat with Adler, I have decided to give her another chance, as it were. I'm going to try and help her out of the jam she's found herself in. I'll help her in the way that I know how, and she'll help me in the way she knows how. But, all that being said, Efrix, I need you to promise me that you will keep me from doing something stupid.
I will do my utmost, sir.
Because we've seen what happens when I trust her implicitly. It always goes bad for me, and I need people who I can trust to keep me pointed in the right direction. And I think I've done pretty well so far, but I need people who I can trust to keep going the way I'm going, and right now, Efrix, that person is you.
I'm hardly one to give advice on relationships. I, too, keep returning to ones that are maybe not the healthiest for me. But
if there's one thing, Efrix, that I've learned in my many years, is that sometimes, even if...
she laughs at the fact that you say many years.
Many years, yes. Yes.
To the 106-year-old woman.
Yeah, is that sometimes, even if you've had bad experiences, sometimes even if you haven't made the best choices, you can still take those choices and use them to keep other people from making the same mistakes. And I think if the two of us can do that for each other, I think we'll come out okay.
Of course. And of course she's always welcome in the med bay if she's injured.
Which, given her,
The rest of the time, though, she really needs to stay out. She just does.
Yep. Yeah. Anyhow, I think we all have a lot of preparations to make. Oh boy, I have to get ready for an Admiralty Ascension ceremony. Oh boy, that's gonna be a lot of pomp and circumstance. Great.
Thought you liked that, sir.
Oh, I do. It's just, it's a lot right now. Anyway, I think we both have things to be getting to.
Of course.
Dismiss, Doctor.
Thank you, Captain.
Dino.
And we come to Varder, Rix, and Myth. Rick Smith, Varder.
Yes.
Captain?
Myth is not starting this conversation.
Yeah.
Myth will turn around, having been, facing towards. Yes, Lieutenant.
I wanted to say a thank you for taking a chance on me, for allowing me to be the chief engineer and lead projects on the Maxwell Planck.
I believe in giving my officers a high degree of autonomy.
And without that degree of autonomy, I do believe that I would not be able to take the chance to go on the Achilles on a Pathfinder adventure. So, to be a good step out there, jumping into the deep end.
Yes, I suppose it will be. Congratulations, Lieutenant. I hope you enjoy your new posting.
I will. Thank you.
That's scene, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, that's seen.
And that's any comments from the peanut gallery.
Oh no.
At the captain's door of the ready room, Captain Pend notices Lieutenant Thralic is approaching the door and just kind of stops. Like, whoop. We're both heading the same way.
Commander Frolic, excuse you.
Huh?
She's Lieutenant Commander.
Yeah, she's been promoted for a while.
Yeah.
Lieutenant
I'll
Commander?
fix it now when it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Darn it. This whole time I haven't been updating the darn token. There.
I assume you're here to speak to the fleet captain?
Yes, he called me up here.
If that's the case, if you want to go in first, and when you're done with your meeting with him, could you go to the ready room and propose something we need to talk about as well?
Yes, sir.
And I'll just sort of sit on the bridge behind the captain's seat while I'm waiting.
All right. Frolic will head in. Fleet Captain, you wish to speak with me? Or that's not quite the phrasing you used, I guess. You said you needed to?
He's BRB'd, hasn't he?
It would seem so.
Well, Myth, would you like to have that conversation with me in the ready room first?
Here, let's go for that.
Oh, wrong one. Sorry. You said myth, so I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yes. Because I've gotten so used to saying, going by the name in Discord as well.
Yeah.
But, yes. Lieutenant Commander, shall we head into the raid room for a brief discussion?
Of course, Captain.
Slight problem. There's a fleet captain in there.
No, he's in his ready room.
Oh, he's in his You're using the briefing
No, briefing room, yes, Jesus.
conference room.
Yeah. The other room.
The other room.
So, especially with how everything's going to be departing and going their own ways, I've had you on the shortlist to possibly take up the XO position aboard my ship.
I see, sir. Been wondering what would happen with the hoplites given the squadron dissolving. We didn't exactly have a ship, so I was bouncing around a lot between places. I'd be honored to continue working with you on the Achilles, though.
Oh, that's perfect. The hoplites will probably be deployed full time to Achilles, but with how long you've been with us from the time on the Kismet and obviously the founding and dismantling of Tiger Squadron, and the fact that you've made it all the way to Lieutenant Commander due to your own efforts,
I'd like to think so, sir.
I can't really think of anyone better within the squadron, or from outside of it really, who I'd want as my XO.
She'll nod very quickly and give like a little... It's not a smile, but it's trying to be a smile.
But yes, if that's the case, just put in the transfer request, I'll get it accepted, and I will be expecting you with your things and the hoplites under your command to report to the Achilles as soon as possible.
Yes, sir. And Thralic almost snaps into an Andorian salute, but holds herself into standard just Starfleet at attention.
Dismissed.
Yes, sir. She'll turn on her heel and leave.
And I'll go sit back in the captain's chair until Thralic's done with grinning.
Right. So, stepped away, so I'll redo that. Fleet Captain, you said you needed to speak with me about something?
Yes. This is a meeting that has been, well, long overdue, and frankly, I'll preface this by saying you're more than welcome to speak freely. In regards to it. I live every day with regret over what happened with Varro.
Kind of tenses up. Yes, sir.
I never knew the relationship that the two of you shared. I never knew how close you were. Varro didn't speak of you much. I could only imagine that he loved you deeply, but I always felt it wasn't my place to approach you about him. And always hoped that one day you might come to me and offer your thoughts.
Fold her arms. With all due respect, sir, you would have no reason to know of the particular relationship that we had without asking first. It's only because I have pushed myself very hard to be where I am, and because I pushed to be on your ship, that I learned anything of what I did about him. But the man that I found here, the memories he left, those weren't my godfather. He'd become someone else since my father died. You've already given me permission to speak freely, Captain, so
Of course.
I don't think you knew Conal Varro at all.
Maybe I didn't, but the man I knew was one of the most capable officers I've ever seen, and, well, he does inhabit a special place for me. This isn't a story I typically repeat, but on my first day, as captain, Varro and I sat in the lounge on Narendra Station after a slight kerfuffle with an Orion agent. That's neither here nor there. I asked him what he thought of me, and he said that he thought that I had the makings of a great captain. I don't know if that's true or not, but I know that those words helped me push through all the challenges that I faced during my time as captain, and whenever I find myself questioning whether or not I will be fit to be an admiral on Narendra Station, I just remember that conversation with Varro, and I know I'm ready. So
He relaxes slightly.
I
He's
don't
always
know
been
if I don't
incredibly
know if that
insightful.
I don't know if that's anything like the Varro you knew, but I like to hope that maybe in some small way it is.
He was always very insightful in a way of picking people apart and getting at their core.
Yeah, that he was.
Was there
'Cause,
anything else
um,
about him that I don't know?
my feelings on him are very complicated. There's so much about him that, as you said, I didn't know, but at the same time, he saved my life multiple times over. Let's just say that if you ever have need to talk about him or who he was, know that I'm always willing to listen.
Yes, sir.
And I think you will do. I think you uphold his legacy well.
hesitates for a moment, and like something shifts in the way she's standing.
You will, and he tries to remember the way that Varro said it when he said it to Grennan. You will make a fine first officer.
So Penn told you about that, I see. And you were able to deduce that I'd accept. How insightful of you as well, Fleet Captain.
Got picked up a thing or two from him. Just remember, my door's always open.
Keep that in mind if I'm ever by Narendra Station.
Dismissed.
Yes, sir. And she steps out.
Pend will stand up and head in.
Bend.
Fleet Captain, mind if I take a seat?
Oh.
Well, this is probably the last time we're going to have a chat for a good while, wouldn't you agree?
I like to think that we'll stay in touch at least.
I mean, yeah, it's a possibility. But before we go our separate ways, and especially while no one else can hear this conversation, I first want to apologise.
For?
When I first joined the Kismet, it was pretty much when I finished operations with Aslan, and I was still unruly because coming from that lifestyle into, at the time, a lieutenant junior grade, I admit I was unruly. I didn't really respect you as a captain.
It's okay. I'll be honest, I really hadn't done much at that point to earn that respect.
But in the same breath, I would like to thank you.
Or?
While there are quite a lot of decisions that you've made that I wholeheartedly disagree with.
Yeah, that seems to be a trend when you're a captain. I'll tell you one thing right now, Pend. When you're sitting in the chair and the buck stops with you, yeah, you'll find that you tend to make a lot of decisions that the people beneath you don't agree with.
Well, that's the second part of the thank you. Thank you for at least making decisions, whether I agree with them or not, or anyone else does, that you believed in. It's one of the things I try to do as a captain myself. Even if others don't agree with my decision, I try to make a decision that I believe is the correct decision.
My advice to you then is, yeah, when you make a decision as long as you stand with the resolve backing that decision, your crew will stand with you as well.
And if they don't, I can just kick the shit out of them.
That's the Pend I know.
But, yeah. He'll stand up and offer his hand to Grennan.
Grennan will shake it.
I just wanted to let you know, considering we don't know how things are going to go in the future. Just, I do appreciate the fact that stepping out into the light, that you were the captain that I got to serve.
Till we meet again, old friend.
Until we meet again. And Pend will head off.
New scene. Alpha Chat begins as various subspace communications go out. This is DS Arcania to USS Maxwell Planck and USS Achilles and USS Kismet. You are clear to disembark. Safe journeys.
Thank you for the service, DSA.
Thank you,
Really?
Deep Space Arcania.
Maxwell Planck moves away a little bit, but it's still in system.
Helm? Let's head to the central systems. When ready.
Stand by, sir. This is USS Kismet to DSA Arcania. We are ready to go. Stay safe. Meanwhile, somewhere in open space.
Can I have a brief scene in the engine room of the Achilles?
Yeah, we could probably fit that in, but the Kismet finds itself intercepted on its way to DSA. Sorry, to Starbase A, I should say. Captain, we're being hailed by a Saber class. They're asking us to come to a stop.
On screen.
This is Captain Athaton of the USS Jaeger. Fleet Captain Grennan. I am respectfully requesting that you turn over the fugitive known as Irene Adler under Penal Subsection 223A. I ask you to recuse yourself of this prisoner. I also request that you allow for Lieutenant Commander Varder to come aboard the Jaeger to continue their journey, as I believe you have certain personal matters you need to attend with at Starbase Aegis.
Understood.
Varder, you're on the bridge when he does this, and you can see Athaton just kind of standing on the bridge of the Jaeger.
Mm-hmm.
And the shields are up, but the weapons aren't up. It's almost like he was worried you were going to take a shot at him.
You like that half step back from the tactical console. He would be at the tactical console to kind of, no, I'm not pressing any buttons.
Fleet Captain, permission to enter transporter range.
Granted.
Jaeger flies up. Drops its shields.
Opens fire.
Drop its shields.
Yeah,
That's
very
such a
poor
bad
choice.
tactical move.
Yeah.
Varder, you good to leave?
He'll, reach down, grab the case. Yep. Ready for transport,
Varder's-
Captain.
Varder is beamed off. Grennan, you are informed that Irene Adler's been beamed out of your brig and is into the Jaeger's brig. The shields come back on.
You gonna warn him?
Fleet Captain. Nothing personal.
Did Grennan die?
Nothing personal.
He cuts the connection. The Jaeger changes course and is warping to a different starbase.
Yeah, I just like the fact that this is probably Wright just selling Grennan out.
Not even.
Doing her job and reporting what she feels to be a
Oh yeah,
unethical thing up the chain of command.
100%.
I mean, command made a decision, presumably.
Some of the crew kind of looks over at Grennan because they're used to having to fight this out or him talking people down, and they're just kind of there's that unspoken look at you of, are we chasing them, or is there some weird plan we're gonna do?
Track their course. Find out what starbase they're heading to.
The captain just lets out a sigh and says, "Helm, plot a course.
Sir?
Plot a course towards tomorrow."
Would you like me to find a nearby star for time travel, sir, or
No.
maybe we should flood the dish with chronotime waves? No, that'll never work. Like you said, tomorrow. Well, that goes backward.
Dude, I'm sorry. They must have picked that up from Pend over the years.
Wow. Ugh. Well,
Trying to make a poetic moment.
Like, goddamn. Let me have
You're
it.
looking for the words "resume course."
Eventually, Grenna's able to get to the unruly Kismet because gods know the Kismet crew never take a straight answer when they could.
And also, all of their senior staff's gone now.
Oh,
Yeah, who's
it's-
going to captain this ship now?
Oh, hey!
And we do one last scene as I was requested. If I can find my engine room again, I have it here somewhere. I made it just for. No, it's a different engine room. Oh, there it is. Are there Ricks?
Jump back a little bit to as the Achilles is taking out. I'm in the engine room and I'm giving orders and checking systems, making sure he's all ready for warp. And then the command is given. I watch on the warp core, watch us as my team does the work, and watch the warp core bloom into life, and take us as to our next adventure. And in the glow of the warp core, I just kind of smile and nod and go, "Yeah, we're gonna have fun here."
Dr. Efrix.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting ready, and then you hear you're like getting ready to actually well, not so much sleep as just to clean up and get refreshed for the next part of your day because you don't have to sleep for a while. I think you already had your sleep for the year.
Yes, I did.
You hear a ping coming from your console. As you can hear it's the subspace. It's a ring of a sub call, but it's not coming. It's not from the ship. Otherwise, your combat should be bleeping at you.
Yeah. She's probably in her civvies. Sorry, my screen is doing a thing I didn't want it to do. Give me a second.
It's like, where
She
are you
just
going?
phases through a wall.
Hello. Waves.
Oh. Hello.
So, did you take it?
I did.
Cool. Are you gonna like experiment on like new like I don't know rock monsters and stuff or?
Always be polite to the rocks. Always. Number one rule I learned on the Kismet.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It'll be an adventure. I think it's going to be a lot of paperwork.
Well, make sure to do your homework. It's very important for growing Denobulan. Okay, it doesn't really work the other way around.
Yes, I've come full circle.
Hey, but I just wanted to ask you something.
Yeah.
I know it's a random hour, but should I really? I was thinking about going into Starfleet, but the next exam's coming up, and well, one of the things they said in the forum was like to figure out which department or which field to go into, but I don't know which one to choose, or if I should. I mean, Dad doesn't. But it worked for you, and I don't know. I'm just still trying to figure it out, I guess. I just wanted to know what you thought.
Well, you know that whatever you choose, we'll be proud of it. Couldn't pick wrong.
I could be a space pirate.
Well, I mean, I'd be proud of you, but then I'd have to, hunt you. So let's not do that.
Oh,
Or
I just-
Varder would.
I just had this funny
Or
feeling I'd be a
Pens.
really good. I just had a feeling I'd be a really good space pirate. I don't know why. Weird dream, I guess.
I've had those before.
Squint.
Using your powers for evil. I know a lot about biology. But I know you enjoy engineering.
But I have to do so much math. So much.
There's a lot of math involved in most things in Starfleet.
Oh, but that's what computers are for.
Even the computers require you to know some math.
Oh, you're right, I guess. As usual. God.
Sorry to disappoint.
Really thought you were going to back me on the space pirate thing, though. He just grins at that.
I mean, if you want Captain Pend and Lieutenant Commander Varder to hunt you down, then
I could
guess you
pirate the
could go for that.
Ferengi.
I still think we would have to say no to that
Oh, okay.
on a moral level.
I guess. Yeah, I'll get working on that then. Just was really sitting on the fence on that one. I wasn't sure where to go with it, but yeah, I think I'll shoot for engineer. See, I'll call you tomorrow actually and see if I'll call you. Yeah, I'll call it tomorrow. Why not?
And see what?
Hmm?
Why Why are you calling me tomorrow when we're talking now?
Well, I saw the deadline's like in a couple hours. I kind of put it off to the last second. So
Okay.
sorry.
You better go.
Boop.
Huh, that was a surprise.
And aboard the plank.
Have you gotten final calculations from engineering for our next series of geometrical calculations?
Yeah, Captain. We have that sorted out. It's the new engineer is a little, let's call him inventive. Let's say that.
Of course. Well then, Khan, call up the last known position of the USS Enterprise and plot an intercept course.
Yes, Captain. You really think they're going to take our meeting?
We'll
Says
have to
Dorja
see.
to you.
See if you can push one additional decimal point out of the engines there, Khan. The new shielding should hold.
Aye, sir.
Engage on your leisure.
And that is the final episode of the USS Kismet and Tiger Squadron. And next time we will be beginning the adventures of the USS Achilles.